All over social media now, you see these ridiculous claims of how people have vibe coded a new profitable startup in virtually no time, and they're making absolute fortunes in recurring revenue. And when you see this stuff, your intuition rationally tells you, this is BS, this is nonsense. But there's that little glimmer of FOMO inside you that keeps you up at night, thinking, what if they're actually making serious money like this? Well, luckily, I'm here to lay that FOMO to rest so that you can get some proper rest. First, let's start with the glaring problem with these claims. Simply put, the easier your product was to build, the easier it is to replicate. And I don't even mean copied by other competitors entering the space. I mean your own customers will do it. If your product actually does something of value, and it was vibe coded in a weekend, your own customers will just make your product for themselves. This is consistent with the work of Nobel Prize-winning economist Ronald Coase about why businesses exist in the first place, which is to minimize transaction costs and to what work businesses should do internally versus pay the external market for. So, if the total transaction costs of replicating your product internally is less than continually paying you, an external party, for it, the business is fully incentivized to bring that product in-house. This is also why it's so silly when people are overly secretive of their startup idea and won't talk to you without a non-disclosure agreement. It's like, are you gonna make your customers sign NDAs for knowing that your product exists and what it does for them? Because each customer could potentially steal your idea. And then there's another problem with these alleged startups, the realistic constraints on revenue. Revenue can be expressed as the price of your product times the quantity you sold. While technically you can price your product as high as customers are willing to pay for it, the reality is that a product that was vibe coded quickly is unlikely to have the sort of value and utility that would make customers pay a lot. In other words, the product's price is likely to be low amount. And if the price is low, based on our revenue equation, the only way to make a lot of money is to sell a huge quantity of them. How do you get your product sold to a large market of people if the narrative is that you started makes a lot of sales just as quickly as you vibe coded this product? Unless you had a huge advertising budget, in which case your revenue numbers may be high, but your profit that you're conveniently leaving out may be minimal. Or you had a large existing channel of distribution, let's say as an influencer, in which case the most valuable part of this business is really your audience and not your ability to vibe code products quickly, which is what you're promoting. And lastly, survivorship bias is ever present here. The few low-effort vibe-coded startups that have managed to gain traction are the ones that get attention and get promoted by the algorithm for you to see, not the countless others that have failed to make any money at all. So the reality is that most of these startups advertising their big MRRs after quickly vibe coding a product are either at best a knowledge arbitrage opportunity or at worst outright lies. I say arbitrage opportunity in the sense that a vibe coder could take advantage of the fact that developments in AI makes a certain product feasible now and can build and sell that product for a short time until the rest of the market becomes aware of the ability to use AI to get that value. That's why the other R in MRR or ARR, recurring, is misleading here. Because these people are often telling you their revenue in their first few months when it's clear that the churn on these sort of products is a huge issue. And people just lying about their revenue and success, that's a tale as old as time. So what does it all mean about these sort of vibe-coded startups? To be clear, the issue here isn't necessarily vibe coding itself. AI-assisted coding is a huge efficiency boost and will make you build and ship products faster. The problem is that for startup to actually succeed, you need to know whether people actually want your product. Validation. And you need people to actually buy your product. Sales. Vibe coding could make it faster for you to iterate on your product so that you expedite the time to reach validation of your product. Or that the efficiency of vibe coding leaves you with more time and resources to spend on marketing. But that's not the messaging you're getting from these people, telling you that it was 3 days from conceiving the idea to building it, to now generating so much MRR, they're considering an exit.